Hello boys, welcome back to another session of video tutorials, and this session is meant for class 11th biology students, and this is meant for 26 November 2020. And as you all of us know that we are into the revision mode and we are revising each chapter of the syllabus for your batch, and as part of it we are revising in this session chapter number 13, photosynthesis in higher plants. So as all of you know that this chapter has got very much high marks weightage, you need to focus on that. And second, you can, being the sons of farmers, you can do wonderful experiments in your own field. Now that you are at home, now that you are in your field along with your parents, you can do many experiments on this related to this, and that becomes part of your project, and you can bring that in a written form with some photos when you come back to the school. So photosynthesis, basically, as the name suggests, photo means light, synthesis means preparation of starch with the help of sunlight, that is photosynthesis. So it is physico-chemical process, we can say biochemical process, by which green plants use light energy to drive the synthesis of organic compounds, carbon and its compounds. It is an enzyme regulated anabolic process. Anabolic means mixing together. So what's being mixed? 6CO2 plus 12H2O. But as all of you know, being senior most boys, that in reality, practically, CO2 will never combine with H2O, nor H2O will combine with CO2. In fact, just for our understanding, we are writing 6CO2 plus 12H2O. In reality, it doesn't happen, because all of you know that photosynthesis happens or takes place in two reaction modes. One is light reaction, another is dark reaction. So this 12H2O splitting of water, we say hydrolysis, will take place in light reaction, and what we call Hillman reaction, thanks to Hillman for his discovery, and CO2 gets reduced to produce the starch, and that reduction of CO2 to produce starch happens in dark reaction, and thanks to Blackman reaction for his discovery. So virtually there is no direct combination of CO2 and H2O. That one must keep in your mind. So basically, overall reaction, for our convenience sake, we can write 6CO2 plus 12H2O, but again I am giving you caution that CO2 will never combine with H2O. It is a splitting of H2O that takes place. Because of that, electrons will be released, H plus OH minus. So when water splits, all of you know, hydroxyl ion and hydride ion, H plus and OH minus will be formed, and this OH minus will play a crucial role, as well as H plus, and particularly the minus. When I write minus, that's electrons play a crucial role, and they play a crucial role in reducing the CO2, and as well as H plus means protons. So it is actually the electrons and the protons that are released from the water will play a crucial role in reducing CO2 to form starch. And as such, of course, you know, starch is a polymer and it is having many monomers. So we can write N times. C6H12O is glucose, N times. And of course, in the bargain, 6H2O will be released out and oxygen is released thanks to this photosynthesis. We are ever grateful to this photosynthesis, for without this we cannot survive. Neither a plant nor an animal can survive without oxygen, thanks to the oxygen that is being released by the plants. That is the reason why every human being should put at least one plant in their life cycle, because that gives lot of oxygen to him or her. Hence, lot of plants should be planted in the given area. So please cultivate the habit. Maybe on important occasions, we celebrate a lot of festivals, we celebrate our birthdays, we celebrate many important events. So make it a point that on every festival, on every birthdays, every functions, ensure that being a biology buyer, put one plant. that gives a lot of oxygen, and commercially also it will be very, very viable. If you want to purchase an oxygen cylinder, ask your daddy how much he has to pay, whereas virtually it is free. It is estimated that one tree in its life cycle gives something like 12 to 14 crore rupees worth oxygen. Hence, it's worth to put a plant. And going ahead, photosynthesis is the basis of life on earth because it is the primary source of all food on earth, and it is responsible for release of, as I have been talking, oxygen in the atmosphere. Chlorophyll, very, very important. Without chlorophyll, this reaction will not take place. Light is a must, just now I said, and CO2 and H2 are the raw materials required for photosynthesis. So it occurs only in green parts of the leaves, and of course if the stem is green, stem also will undergo photosynthesis in the presence of light. So raw materials required is CO2 plus H2O, and the presence is sunlight and chlorophyll. So what are the early experiments? Thanks to this gentleman, Joseph Priestley, in 1770, look at that. On the basis of his experiments, showed the essential role of air in the growth of green plants. A mouse kept in closed space, look at that. This is the mouse kept in closed space, the jar is closed, could get suffocated and die, look at that. But if a mint plant is kept, look at this happy, mint plant is kept in bell jar, neither candle will extinguish nor will the mouse die. What is the logic? This is releasing carbon dioxide, mouse, so plants will take, and light is there, CO2 is available, chlorophyll is inbuilt, so the plant will undergo photosynthesis. At the end of photosynthesis, it releases oxygen. Because of that oxygen, mouse is surviving and the candle burns. That's the logic. So that's why I said for survival of all of us, we need plants. Hence, please put on plants as much as possible. So he concluded, of course all of us know now, that foul air produced by animal is converted into pure air by plants. Priestley discovered the greatest discovery on the earth in 1774. And then second experiment, Julius Van Sachs in 1854 shows that green part in plants produces glucose, which is stored as starch, I said polymer. So many monomers of glucose join together to form starch monomer. Starch is the first visible product of photosynthesis. So this is Julius Van Sachs. And Engelmann, somewhere 1843 to 1909, used prism to split light into its components, of course with GR, and then illuminated cladophora, this algae, placed in the suspension of aerobic bacteria. And he found that bacteria accumulated in blue and red light of the split spectrum. He thus discovered the effect of different wavelength of light on photosynthesis, action spectrum. This is what exactly I am telling. You also do it in your own home and see under which light the plants grow very nicely. Then you will come to know which is the most suitable spectrum of the light under which the plants will survive. And then Cornelius Van Niel, somewhere 1985, very close, on the basis of studies with purple and green color and green sulfur bacteria, showed that photosynthesis is a light dependent reaction in which hydrogen from an oxidizable compound reduces CO2 to form sugar. This is what we were talking about. So 2H2A plus CO2 is becoming 2A plus CO2 is getting reduced, CH2O plus H2O is the byproduct. So in green sulfur bacteria, when H2S instead of H2O was used as a hydrogen donor, no O2 was evolved. See, look at that. There is no O2. Where is the O2? He inferred that oxygen evolved by green plants comes from H2O, splitting of water, but not from CO2 as thought earlier, because in the earlier days there was discussion whether the oxygen that is released at the end of photosynthesis, is it getting released because of splitting of CO2 as Cn plus O2, or is it because of H2O, H plus and OH minus. So the discussion was going on. Now this experiment of Van Niel proved beyond doubt that it is oxygen gets released only due to splitting of water and not because of CO2. Hence, this experiment with bacteria has proved that the the oxygen that gets released at the end of photosynthesis comes because of splitting of water. So this is a concluding evidence. We go ahead in the next session, where does photosynthesis take place. Of course, as all of you know, it's in plastids, chlorophyll, and I want you to draw this diagram. What is this diagram? All of you know that it is chloroplast. So please draw the diagram, label this, and understand the importance of each part of it, and post it in our WhatsApp group.